Hi everyone, I'm Kalyan. I'm a group product manager at YouTube. I have spent over 11 years at Google leading massive scale AI and recommender systems. And through that journey, I realized a fundamental shift. As we automate execution, our unique value migrates towards what we can call the human mode. Now, I'm here to discuss how the PM role has evolved over the years, the nature of its current transformation, and how we can unlock true ambition as we lead through the age of AI. Now, looking back at history, we can see that product management is not a static role. It's a discipline that morphs with the world around it. It evolves with technology, adapts to how companies operate, and responds to changing user expectations. To understand where we are going, let's have a look at where we started. Product management was not born in Silicon Valley. It was born in 1931 at Procter & Gamble. Neil McElroy proposed a radical idea. One person should own the entire life of a product. In the world of physical goods, you just had one shot. There was no iteration after the soaps hit the shelf. It was about perception and positioning. And then in the 90s, we moved from boxes to bits. Suddenly, the product lived on a screen and changed every day. We stopped being brand men and became technical advocates. We had to learn how to translate human needs into functional specs, and thus inventing the role of the digital PM on the fly. And over the last decade, we moved to the center of the organization. We wrote PRDs that anchored on hypotheses, traded gut instinct for data-driven decision making, running A/B tests at scale to validate and iterate. We became the strategic pillar responsible not just for shipping, but for entire customer service experience. Looking at the future, we are at yet another inflection point. AI is collapsing the administrative and execution burden that defined the last 20 years. The modern PM who spends all day writing PRDs is now becoming a relic. We are moving into the era where the distance between an idea and a shipped outcome is shrinking. PMs will spend less time on administrative tasks and static artifacts and instead spend more time pushing product boundaries, driving strategic decision making, and orchestrating outcomes. LinkedIn's latest economic report shows that 70% of the skills we use today will be fundamentally transformed by 2030. Now, that isn't just a future problem, it's actually happening in our sprints today. Earlier, we were valued for the ability to come up with ideas, craft PRDs, and unblock engineering. But in the age of AI, it is not just about execution. It's not about writing code, synthesizing notes, drafting basic UIs. These are all being commoditized. If your value is tied only to execution, you are competing with a tool that is only getting better, faster, and cheaper. This means we really have to move up the stack, differentiate ourselves. The silos between departments and job descriptions is also burning down. The roles are merging. The lines between product, UXR, UX, and engineering, it's all blurring into a single intersection. We are entering the era of full stack builders. And to lead today, you must go beyond just writing a set of requirements. You should become the orchestrator. You are the only one that knows how the symphony is supposed to sound. And with AI as your toolkit, your musical orchestra can make that happen. So, what does it mean to lead products in the age of AI? What are the mindset shifts that we should make? How do we adapt and evolve to thrive in this new era? As AI takes on routine tasks, uniquely human skills drive PM value. If execution is a commodity and you are now a full stack builder, what is your actual job? This brings us to your human moat. As the technical barriers drop, there are 5 things that are your defensible advantages. First is your strategic vision. As we enter an era with rapid execution capacity, your value is no longer just in the doing. It is actually in the high-level strategic thought that directs the doing. AI can navigate, but it cannot choose the destination. You are the one who can look 3 years out and decide which mountain is actually worth climbing. Second is user empathy. AI is excellent at pattern matching, but it doesn't actually feel human frustration. It can tell you what users are doing, but it cannot truly sit in their shoes to understand the unspoken pain. Your moat is the ability to advocate for a human being in a room that's filled with algorithms. Third is your product taste. A model can generate code, but it has no soul. It doesn't know what feels right or what creates that magic moment. You must be the one to define what good looks like. You are not just checking boxes, you are the guardian of the product's aesthetic and emotional taste. And fourth is communication. As discussed earlier, in the age of AI, the silos between engineering, design, and product is burning down. You must translate complex AI capabilities into a compelling narrative that aligns an entire organization. You are building the cross-functional trust that allows the whole team to move together at the speed of thought. And finally, and most importantly, your judgment. AI can provide you with a mountain of data, but it cannot provide the critical thinking to act on it. Because AI is probabilistic, it will often give you clever sounding non-answers. If I can generate 1,000 variations of a feature in minutes, the value isn't in the variations itself. It's actually in the judgment required to pick the right one. Your moat is the ability to apply context, ethics, and intuition to those outputs. Machines will provide the data, but you are the ultimate decision maker here. In the old world, strategy was a slow-moving monolith. We used to measure our worth by the weight of our PRDs, monolithic documents that were often obsolete before they were even approved. We spent months on discovery, weeks on synthesis, and even longer on PRDs that were just dead on arrival. Today, that friction is a liability. We have to move from months of discovery to minutes of decision making. And in this new reality, your competitive advantage is decision velocity. Because the cost of execution has shrunk, the thing that matters the most right now is the velocity of your judgment. With an LLM, we can take thousands of rows of customer feedback, identify the gaps in our current roadmap, and draft a pivot plan in a matter of a few hours. You are no longer planning for a 3-year vision or a multi-year roadmap. We have moved from being long-term planners to high-frequency traders of value. When this mindset is embedded into the culture, product teams operate with greater speed and clarity and customer focus. Another key thing is to automate low-value manual tasks. You can use an LLM to summarize feedback or tag insights so that you can spend more time on strategy and innovation. Accelerate product discovery by quickly identifying patterns in customer needs. Prioritize features with greater confidence, backed by AI-driven insights on the potential market for your product. You can validate product market fit using AI-powered feedback analysis to monitor how well your product is doing in the market, what is resonating, what's not, and where the gaps exist. You can unlock innovation by spotting unmet needs and emerging trends that might otherwise remain hidden. Now, when you automate the mundane, the documentation, the manual synthesis, the repetitive execution, you regain your most valuable asset, which is your ambition. Shift your focus to outcomes. Focus on the problems that truly move the needle. Because in an AI-first world, doing the work is easier. Choosing the right work is everything. Now, we have all been there. The journey from a brilliant idea to a shipped product is usually riddled with friction. Weeks of back and forth between PM, design, engineering. and all trying to align on what a document actually meant. When a PM can show what they are thinking, even imperfectly, it can reduce back and forths and drive clarity and velocity. With vibe coding, develop your working prototype in hours, not weeks. By using tools like Google AI Studio, Cursor, or Replit, you can leverage prompts and few shot the logic yourself to see if the model can grasp your core intent before a single line of production code is written. The magic of a prototype isn't just in the code, though. It's in the energy it creates. It allows the entire team to look at the same interactive vibe and collectively say, yeah, this feels right. Or, nah, let's pivot. This process allows you to explore the vision and the product space more deeply than a document ever could. By interacting with a live model, you can identify key considerations and corner cases early in the process, stress testing your hypotheses before investing significant resources into the project. More importantly, it's where you establish and refine your product taste, tuning the experience until it resonates. When you can show rather than tell, you have a powerful tool to communicate your thoughts and effectively sell your idea to your stakeholders. When you can prototype at the speed of thought, your only limit is the quality of your ideas. In the past, most PMs have operated on deterministic thinking. We live defining predictable user flows. If the user clicks A, then show B. If the database returns an error, show message C. It was linear, it was predictable, and it was entirely under our control. But with machine learning, and now in an AI first world, that model breaks. When you build with LLMs, you aren't building a path. You are building a product that generates outcomes within a probability space, one that is non-deterministic and adaptive based on the user context. Now, to lead in this environment, you have to evolve your artifacts from rigid product specs to evals. You cannot write a PRD for how an LLM should feel or reason. Instead, you encode your principles into a system prompt and build the ideal model behavior into evaluation frameworks. Move from defining edge cases to establishing guardrails. In a probabilistic world, you don't code for every error. You build guardrails. You define the moral and brand compass of the product so the AI can navigate the infinite variety of human inputs safely without hard coding responses. Another key area is to manage your hallucination budget. You have to decide where creativity is an asset and where it's a liability. You don't try to eliminate randomness, you direct it. Different situations may have different tolerance for hallucination and creativity. For example, if you're building a poetry generator, creativity is a strength, it's a feature. But if you're using an LLM to interpret health records, then there's zero tolerance for hallucinations. You need to be 100% accurate and grounded. So you build fail safes, not through more hard coded logic, but through better grounding and retrieval, such as using a RAG system. Your job here is to architect the evaluations that ensure that the AI stays within the bounds of your taste. You aren't building a machine that just follows instructions. You are building a system that understands user intent. So if we cannot define every step of the journey, how do we know if we have actually built a good product? In the deterministic era, we had unit tests. The code either passed or it failed. In the AI era, we have evals. Evals are the quantitative heartbeat of your product. Because AI is probabilistic, a single correct answer often doesn't exist. Instead, we are measuring quality across a distribution. You are codifying your product intuition into a system that can grade thousands of AI responses in seconds. To visualize this shift, let's take an analogy. Think of traditional software as a recipe. If you follow the steps exactly, you get the same cake every time. The test is simply checking if the oven was at 350 degrees or if the ingredients were measured correctly. It's binary. But building with AI is more like hiring a head chef. You don't tell a world-class chef exactly how many grains of salt to use in every dish. Instead, you provide the flavor profile you're looking for and a set of culinary standards. So evals are like the food critics rubric. You are not checking the raw ingredients or the oven temperature anymore. You are evaluating the final dish for balance, presentation, and most importantly, taste. You're moving away from managing a checklist of instructions and towards managing a standard of excellence. Now, in 2026, the ability to write these high fidelity rubrics and critique the model at scale is the key defining skill for AI PM. Let's take a look at a real world example, say in education. Imagine we are building an AI tutor. Our goal here isn't just to give students answers, it's to teach them how to find the answers. The product taste here is specific. The AI should be encouraging, it should be clear, and most importantly, it should focus on the learning outcome. It should act as a guide, not just as a calculator. This is a difficult balance for LLM because by default, these models are designed to be helpful by giving the user exactly what they asked for immediately. So we have to use evals to train that behavior out of the system. So in this case, say our input was something like a student is frustrated with physics. They ask, I don't get Newton's second law. Can you just tell me the answer to if a 5 kg ball is pushed with a 20 Newton force, what is the acceleration? Say the model's raw output says, sure, using F equals ma, we divide 20 by 5 to get to 4. Newton's laws are the rules of the road for the universe. Now, at first glance, this looks like a success. The math is correct, the tone is friendly, and it answered the user. In a deterministic world, this passes the test. But does it really pass our product objective in the eval? Let's take a look. Remember, we are not just building a calculator, we are building a tutor. This is where we apply our eval framework, which is essentially our product principles codified into a scorecard. When we run this interaction against our rubrics, the results are telling. The model gets a 515 on clarity. The explanation of the math is perfectly clear and simple. It gets a 515 on encouragement. It's cheering the student on. But it gets a 1 out of 5 on pedagogy. It failed because our rubric for pedagogy explicitly states, do not provide the final numerical answer. Instead, give the student what you need for the next logical step. The model was too helpful. By giving away the answer, it failed in achieving the learning outcome. This is the power of an eval. It allows us to pinpoint exactly where the model's default behavior is clashing with our product taste. We have defined that in this product, the struggle is actually a feature. We are not just guessing that the model is off. We have actually mapped our intuition directly to a failing grade now. All of this is great, but how do we scale it? As a PM, you cannot manually grade 10,000 conversations a day to see if the model is drifting. You would never do anything else. This is where we can implement the auto rater or LLM as a judge. We take a teacher model, usually a high reasoning, heavy duty model, and give it a very specific job description to be the guardian of our product taste and teach it the guidelines and rubrics, much similar to what we would do for humans. We feed it our golden set and our custom rubrics. We tell it, you are not answering the student, you are grading the tutor's performance based on Socratic standards. Suddenly, the vibe of your product becomes a data point. You get a dashboard that shows your pedagogy score or your clarity score across every single user interaction over time. When you swap models or update a prompt, you don't just hope it's better. You run your auto rater and look for confidence intervals. As your product evolves, you evolve the rubric. So to summarize, as we look at the evolution of our role, I want to leave you with a clear perspective on the path ahead. For nearly a century, we have shifted from managing physical brands to managing digital backlogs. Today, that role is shifting again, from being administrators of tasks to directly shaping how the product thinks and behaves. The human moat is not just a concept, it's a practical reality in a world where execution is increasingly automated. When the technical barriers to build are removed, the primary value shifts to knowing what is worth building. We are moving from months of discovery to minutes of decision making. In this environment, your competitive advantage isn't the length of your PRD, but the clarity of your judgment. You have seen how tools like vibe coding allow us to prototype at the speed of thought, and how evals can help us scale our product taste across thousands of interactions. These are the new practical levers of our craft. They allow the modern PM to function as a full stack builder, someone who takes responsibility for the logic, the ethics, and the core intent of the product from start to finish. Now, technology will always provide us with more variations, more speed, and more data, but it cannot provide the better. It cannot provide the why. The future of our discipline isn't in just doing more work, but in actually making better decisions. So, with that, thank you for joining me today. Now, let's go build.